We do have Landry Locker, Sports Radio 610 Houston. He's the host of In the Loop, and he's with us to talk some Texans, some Astros, and everything in between. Landry, good morning. Thank you for being with us. Landry, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, there you are. Oh, what's up, Landry? Hey, shout out to you, man. We appreciate you being on with us this morning, talking some Texans. It's NFL Draft Week. I'm pretty sure your guys up at 610, you included, are very excited about that. Y'all have been building up to this. The Texans, it's a pivotal moment in their franchise, I'd say. How are you feeling as you and the Texans head into Draft Week?
It's pretty uncertain, to be honest. It was, for a while it seemed like they were going to get the guy that they like most at quarterback in Bryce Young. Now it appears that that's not going to be the case. So this is as much uncertainty around here as we've experienced in a while. So we don't know whether they're going to go quarterback. We don't know whether they're going to go D-line. We don't know whether they're going to trade. So the feeling is uncertainty and anxiousness.
Yeah, man. So those reports came out, right, that Bryce to Carolina is looking like it's going to happen. And then I've seen, one of your coworkers, Sean Pendergast, he put it out on Twitter that Vegas has these odds out that say Will Levis has jumped into the conversation as pick number 2 in the draft. Now, that could be pick number 2 for another team. It could be pick number 2 for the Texans. Are you on a Will Levis to the Texans hype train that some Texans fans are?
No, I'm not. I mean, that doesn't excite me at all. But I think it speaks as much to, what we've been seeing from C.J. Stroud and the kind of dropping stock. But I mean, it's going to be a hard sell for me to get excited about Will Levis being the number 2 pick. I would love to hear the sales pitch. I know DeMeco Ryans and the offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, they've been in these types of situations before in San Francisco. But I would have to hear why Will Levis, but as far as like getting excited and stuff and like hyping it up and billboards and stuff, that's a hard sell for me.
Maybe it's the mayo and the coffee that can get you excited.
God, yeah.
Do you buy that, or you think that's a bit?
I think it was a bit, and then I think everybody, like all the local media and all that, just kind of took it to a new level, and he just kind of playing around with it.
Oh, I can guarantee you, if Will Levis does get drafted by Houston, I can guarantee you there will be somebody up in Houston who will go on the radio or who will go on air on TV that will try that. I can almost guarantee that's going to happen.
Guaranteed.
We're here with Landry Locker, Sports Radio 610, talking Texans NFL Draft.
Hey, Landry. This is Marcos here. Just wanted to get your framework and my thought process of this draft season. I mean, obviously, I was super high on Bryce early on in the offseason. I know as a lot of Texans fans were, but like James said, it seems like that's not in the realm of possibility anymore. And I know we need a quarterback, but there are just so many other holes that this team needs to fill. How would you feel if the team passes on a quarterback this draft?
I would feel okay with it, actually. DeMeco didn't create the problem. Caserio created the problem because he didn't trade Brandon Cooks when he should have, and he didn't sit him out the final week of the season. That's not hindsight. That's what we were saying on the air the whole time. So if DeMeco doesn't want to draft a quarterback like San Francisco didn't draft a quarterback in 2017, now it ended up being Mahomes and Watson going 10, and they passed on them at 2, which ended up being a mistake, but everyone made the mistake. I would have no problem with it because 2021, they kind of tried to force the issue with Lance. You got 2 firsts next year. It's not exciting. It's not fun. But my whole thing with this whole quarterback thing, and I got into it with John McClain about this because he put out a column saying that they need to take a quarterback. I can't get down with a quarterback. You like if you like Will Levis or you like C.J. Stroud or you like whoever, like if you like Richardson, cool. But just draft a quarterback. I'm not dying to just draft a quarterback just to draft a quarterback, especially with the guys that are coming out next year and with all the holes as you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm kind of following some of the same thought process that some of the other guys on Texans Twitter are having of, if you don't think that, if the front office doesn't believe that they have their guy at 2, that if they don't believe that they have their franchise quarterback at 2, why would they reach whenever you could have a perennial pass rusher such as Will Anderson on the board, and you could add to an edge position that is severely lacking for the Texans.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at it, everybody liked to talk about Brock Purdy last year in San Francisco, and that's cool. He went 5-0, and, the 49ers went to the NFC Championship game. But, I mean, the reason that they went there was because they traded for Christian McCaffrey. Like, they lost one game without Christian McCaffrey, and they also had Nick Bosa on the other side. So, I mean, I could even see a scenario where I think the easiest sales pitch would be if Bijan Robinson's at 12. I know you already have Dameon Pierce, but if you come out of there with Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson, they might like Tyree Wilson more too. That's another issue on itself. But if you come out with your pass rusher and arguably the best player in the draft, then I think you can kind of sell that a little bit. You can make your quarterback better, and then who knows what happens? Maybe they make a trade and they kick the tires on Trey Lance or something like that. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if you can get an elite pass rusher, if you think that Will Anderson is that caliber of guy, go ahead and do it. Don't try to force the issue with the quarterback, because D'Amico's in no hurry, and I think people trust D'Amico Ryan. So if he can sell the vision, I think it can be bought.
We're here with Landry Locker, Sports Radio 610, host of In the Loop, Monday through Friday up there in Houston. Now, y'all guys, of course, talking about the quarterback situation. Why would you shy away from C.J. Stroud at number 2? Is there just a general belief that he is not that type of guy?
I don't know what why they would. I mean, we know what the questions with CJ have been, and I don't think they're always fair. That he had an array of talent around him, and that system at Ohio State is such to where you don't really have to read the defense as much. And I don't always subscribe to that, because, I mean, Joe Burrow had some studs around him at LSU too. But I think it's just a combination of that. I think it's a combination of all these tests that everyone keeps talking about, which, I'll be honest, I didn't know what the hell that test was till 2 months ago. It's kind of, I mean, because it seems like a lot of people have become experts on that test, and all of a sudden, talk about it. I don't know a damn thing about. I'm not going to pretend that I know. I had no idea what. I heard the Wonderlic test and all that, but I'd never heard of the.
Are you talking about all these new things that are coming out, like the RAS scores, and all these different little metrics? Now, to me, the draft industrial complex has just gotten I don't know. I'm not saying it's jumped the shark, but there's just so much out there to try and filter through that I think sometimes we kind of forget, hey, can the guy produce on the field? What does the film show? And then that's another thing, Locker. Whenever you have guys that, quote unquote, I watch the film guys, that's another thing that bothers me about draft Twitter. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, because those guys don't want. I mean, I don't think they understand how much goes into that.
Exactly.
And I'm not a watch the film guy. I've sat in a couple times, and it's literally 5 minutes each play. So it's not, it's not put on the YouTube highlights, and I see C.J. Stroud do this against Georgia. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's cabin fever. We're dying for the draft. We're ready for it. There's there's a lot of dialogue and stuff. As far as why CJ goes down, I don't know. It does seem to be somewhat of a thing, though. I would be surprised if CJ were the pick.
Yeah, hey Landry. Recently, there's been obviously throughout the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of rumors coming out that the Texans might not take a quarterback, that they don't like XYZ quarterback, but Caserio, coming from New England, who are notoriously tight-lipped, and Caserio himself, who doesn't give out a lot of information, do you think that that's just a lot of smoke and mirrors?
Yeah, it is weird how there's been more leaks lately with the Texans than there have been in a while. So I don't know, because I don't know D'Amico. I don't know what D'Amico does. I did go back and pull the clip of 2021 after the draft where Kyle Shanahan was basically having fun with all the speculation about Mac Jones and all that type of stuff, and he was basically calling out media, coaches, and stuff like that. And I wonder, if D'Amico comes from that school and he's kind of just laughing behind the scenes the same way. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if D'Amico knows what he's doing. I don't know if that's where the noise is coming from, but we just don't know how D'Amico rolls yet.
We're here with Landry Locker of SportsRadio 610 Houston. Landry, you guys, of course, you're the flagship station up there in Houston. Y'all guys cover the Texans extensively. What is your ideal number 2 and number 12 picks in Landry Locker's perfect scenario for the Texans? They walk away Thursday night with who at number 2 and number 12?
Mine would be trade back and get 3 1s next year with, someone in that 6-8 range. Like if Atlanta likes C.J. Stroud or if the Raiders, who believe they like C.J. Stroud, and then you come away with Tyree Wilson and either Jackson Smith and Jigba or Bijan Robinson. That would be my perfect first 2.
Nice.
Now, would you be opposed to maybe trading back to that same area that you said, who a couple of teams are rumored to be taking Jalen Carter, and a lot of people before the combine and everything like that were saying Jalen Carter is the best player in this draft, period, point blank. Taking Jalen Carter and then maybe a Nolan Smith or best edge available at 12 and really bolstering up a defensive line that was the worst in run defense in the entire NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with that. It's just the offense, the receivers. Maybe you can get some guys in the second. It's just they really, like, if they can get their best receiver in that range, I think they need to do it, because I thought they might have liked Jamison Williams last year. He just went before him. So they definitely need some speed and some playmaking at wide receiver. But the one, I guess it's a good bad thing, is that they need everything. So they really can't go wrong with anything they do.
Yeah, they need a little bit of help up there. Do those Texans? Let's switch gears. Let's talk just a little bit of Astros. We only have a couple more minutes with you, Landry. We're with Landry Locker, Sports Radio 610. Astros, of course, got a big win last night in Atlanta. They've won 3 in a row. They've won 4 out of 5. It does seem like this team is starting to pick up a little bit of steam. Were you one of these guys that, are you one of these guys that's, hey, it's still early type of fan or type of person, or were you always anticipating that this team was going to end up coming out of this funk?
To be honest, I at the start of the season, I had them at 90 wins, so I didn't really have too high expectations, just because I don't think they had the depth. I think once they get in the playoffs, they can flip the switch, but they got guys doing stuff that they've never done. I never thought that they were going to be. I was never panicking, but I did feel like the other night felt like more than just one of 162, where you had Abreu come in with the bases loaded, and get out the heart of the Toronto order without allowing a run. You had Garcia. You needed a good start from Garcia because he's been struggling so much. So I do get a kick out of a baseball guy that's always like, it's early, it's 101-62. It's like, okay, I get it, but I mean, what are we even talking about it for? I did think that win felt like more than, just one win. So it did seem like something that we could look back on and say, all right, that was where they turned it around. Because, you're either falling 3 games below 500, Garcia's continuing to struggle, or you get out of that disaster, and that they haven't lost since. So I did feel like that was the game that we'll look back to and say that was monumental W for the first 20% of the season, whatever.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Aiden, you got something?
Yes, I want to talk about as far as looking long term whenever Brantley and Altuve come back. What's the role for Mauricio Dubon going to be like? Let's say he continues his really superb hitting. He continues batting 300 or whatnot. Is he going to take that center field spot, or is he going to be back into a utility role that he was supposed to be?
Man, that's a good question. Because I was saying a week ago, in a strange way, it's almost I don't want to say discouraging, but it's kind of sucked when they were playing so bad that Dubon was doing so good, because Altuve is going to come back. So it's not like they're struggling at second base, and once Altuve comes back, you're gonna it's a switch flip. I would think he would be a utility guy where they use him as much as they can, but I just don't do you play him in center field every day? I don't know if that's ideal for him. They'll find ways, but then you're taking a guy out of the lineup. I think he's striking out 4% of the time or something like that, which is godly. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with him, but yeah, I'm with you. I never thought we'd be having this conversation, but I mean, he's been a pleasant surprise. I did not think it was not on my. I did not bet, that we'd be saying, "What the heck are they going to do to keep Dubon in the lineup at this time?" That's where we're at.
Yeah, you're right about that, Landry. We're here with Landry Locker, Sports Radio 610. Jose Abreu, have you been satisfied with his performance so far? There are a lot of people who are kind of questioning him, the signing of him, his age, and just his early season numbers. He's kind of struggled just a tad bit with the Astros.
Yeah, he has no power, and I mean, he hasn't had power going back to last year. If you just look at, the short time that Jeff Bagwell was, playing GM for the Astros, you can make a case that it was pretty disastrous. You gave Montero $11 million a year. You had the Abreu signing, and then you signed Brantley too, which hopefully that works out. We don't know what Brantley's going to look like, but. Look, I think Abreu is a good. I guess he's an upgrade for Yuli, but the power is not there, and I think it's very concerning because it's not just this season. You go back to last season. I think Chas McCormick had one fewer home run than him last year. So
wow,
the power. I think it's something like that. So it's not. It's not great. The power is not great.
Yeah, no disrespect to Chaz, but when you're signing a guy to a contract like that, you're expecting some power numbers, especially in Minute Maid Park. So, all right. Hey, Landry, we got to unfortunately let you go, my guy. We can do this all day, but time is running up on us on the segment. What do y'all guys got planned on draft night? Y'all having some round tables? What are y'all doing on Sports Radio 610?
We will be at the draft party. There's a draft party out here, and then I will be streaming on Locker Room on YouTube after the first round. So come through.
There we go. All righty. Landry Locker, Sports Radio 610, host of In the Loop in Houston, covering the Texans and everything Houston sports. Landry, we do appreciate your time this morning, my guy. We'll catch up later.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. There he goes. Landry Locker off the line. Good stuff right there. It's Astros talk. It is Texans talk.